All right, so today we're going to talk about section 3-2. And the main gist of today is actually taking a parent function and translating it. All right? So the first one, what kind of a parent function is x squared? It's a parabola, right? So it should look something like this. Okay? Now, it says on the same grid, graph the function of x squared plus 4. So what happened to that? It moved 4 up, right? So it should have gone up by 4. So something like this. Okay? Now, the next part says clear the previous graph and graph the function of x squared minus 5. Where is that? Yeah, so if you go down 5, your parabola would be like this. Okay? And then it said, what do you think will happen to the parent graph when you graph this? It moves how far to the left? 4. Yep. It actually moves 4 to the left.
Wait, why not to the right?
Because we're going to talk about it in a few minutes, but it's actually opposite of what you think it is.
Oh, is that just something you have to memorize?
Yeah, there's a formula. We're going to talk about it in a few minutes, okay? So you're going to move 4 to the left. 2, 3, 4. Okay? Okay, so it says clear the graph from step 3 and graph this one. Wait a second, that's the same one, right? In comparison to the parent graph, we already did that one. Okay, so what do you think will happen to the parent graph when you do this? Of x minus 5 squared. Move to the right 5, yep. So if you graph it, it will actually... If you go to the right, 2, 3, 4, 5, I ran out of space. So there's half a parabola. Okay? Windows are important, right? Okay. So from this activity, summarize what you found. What did you find? Monet says if you add or subtract, it will move up or down the y-axis. If you square the whole thing, it will move left or right on the positive or negative sign. Okay? So in other words, if you have this, if it's x plus 2 squared, you move which direction? To the left 2. What if I have y equals x minus 3 squared? Which way am I going to move? Right 3. What if I have y equals x squared plus 4? Up 4. How about y equals x squared plus, it's not plus, but minus 5? Down 5. What if I had this? Right 6 and up 7. It's a double one. Okay, so we have a little fill in the blank portion of our notes, and it's going to go like this. A transformation is the first word. A transformation is a one-to-one mapping between sets of points. We say that one set, the pre-image, is mapped onto the other set, the image. One type of transformation is a translation. which shifts the graphs horizontally or vertically. What we just did on our warm-up was translating. Okay? We didn't make it wider or skinnier. We didn't rotate. Okay? Those were simple translations. Okay. The translation in step 2 of the activity could be written as this. X and y plus 3. Okay, so in that one we were looking at just moving the parabola up 3. Yes, Monet?
Why do you put like y plus 3?
That's what we're going to do. If we were to put in a point, say like 2, 3, that means we'd actually, the new point would be to 5 because we're translating it up 5. It's just what you put in, and then you do something to the y component. Oh, 6. Yes, sorry. Yep, because you're adding 3 to 3.
Do you always do plus 3 then?
On this one, on this particular one. Okay? Okay, that was just an example. Anybody else have any questions? This is different than actually changing the equation, you guys. This is just this is giving you directions of what to do with each component of a point, the x part and the y part. Okay? So on this one, this blank right here should be t colon translation of xy arrow x and y plus 3 is read. XY is mapped onto x and x plus 3. The general translation of the plane translate figures horizontally and vertically at the same time. So our definition of a translation is a translation in the plane is a transformation that maps each point xy onto x plus h and y plus k, where h and k are constant. It can be any number in h and k. So let's look at this first example. We have a graph of a parabola, y equals x squared, with its image under translation. Okay, so the original's in blue, the translated one's in red. The point 0, 0, which is the vertex of the pre-image, maps onto the vertex -3, 1 in the image. What is the equation for the graph of this image? So what you're going to do on this, first of all, is how far over to the left did it move? 3. So your x value is going to be y plus 3, because it's going left, squared. And how far up did it go? 1. Another way of looking at this, you could say y minus 1, which is the opposite. And you guys were asking me why it's the opposite of what it looks like. It's also opposite for the y. Notice that if you wrote it just like this, y is going, according to this, it goes down, but it really goes up. And this looks like it goes right, but it really goes left. Okay? So if you originally write it like this and then solve for y, you get this, and which is what you most commonly see. So it's actually the opposite of what you would think for both the x and y. Okay, so now it says find the rule for the translation. So that would be written x, y equals x minus 3 and y plus 1. Now it says find the image of 2, 4 under this translation. So what you're going to do is like put 2 in for x right here. What's 2 minus 3? -1. And what's 4 plus 1? It's going to be 5. So that's the image for that point. Any questions on this one? Yes, Monet.
Why would it be -1, 5?
Because if I put in 2 for x right here, so it's like saying 2 minus 3,
I know, but like, why did you put in equal?
and then I put 4 in for y. So you notice how I put this number in?
Yeah, but why? Why did you put that in?
Because this was our original point's just x, y, right? And then this is the rule for translating it. So when I put that at 2 in for x, it would be 2 minus 3, so it becomes a -1. That's how it's moving. And then I put 4 in for y, so it'll be 4 plus 1 equals 5. So this particular thing right here is our rule. It's showing us how it needs to move from the original. All right. Any other questions? All right, so under a translation, the image of 0, 0 is -12, 5. Find the rule for this translation. So txy is translated to what? How does it move on the x part? Yeah, it's going to the left, so we're just talking about the rule, not the equation, okay? The rule. And then the y is moving y plus 5. Yep. Now it says find the image with this point. So if I put that in, 6 minus 12 and -10 plus 5, that's going to be -6 and -5. All right? Any questions about that? Okay, so on this graph, we have a circle, or a part of a circle, not a whole circle. Okay, so at the right are graphs of the function y equals square root of 25 minus x squared. And its image under the translation is x plus 5, y minus 4. That's the rule. So originally we are at the blue, right? And then we're moving. So if we're at the origin and then we move x plus 5, this becomes the new spot, and then down 4. So your center point would actually be right here. Okay? So find the equation for this image. What you're going to do actually on this is, you move to the right 5, correct? So you're going to start off and you're going to put inside of this x, you're going to put a parentheses and a squared part. And for the y, you're going to put a parenthesis there too, because you're going to replace that. What am I going to replace the x with? Yeah, -5. Yep. Because it's the opposite of what you imagine. When it's actually in the equation, you're going opposite. When you're doing the translation rule, you're going just directly as it says. So how am I going to put this one in now for the y? Yeah, y plus 4. Okay? So now if I were to solve this for y, actually, this ends up being like this. Oh, no, not plus, but minus. On the outside of that square root. Okay? The other thing you can do is you can actually FOIL this out. Okay? So when you FOIL it out, it's x minus 5 times x minus 5. You're going to end up with 25 minus x squared minus 10x plus 25. And then if you simplify that, you end up with negative x squared plus 10x, and I don't really need that long of a line here. Let me redo that. Minus 4. The 25s cancel out. Okay? So the big trick, though, is to do opposite of what you think and replace them.
Why is it plus 10?
Because the 25s cancel out. This is a negative sign. So you put distribute the negative through. So that would be a negative 25, a positive 25, and that cancels. Okay, good question. All right, let's look at the next one. Without using your graphing calculator, how would the graphs of x to the third and x plus 4.2 to the third minus 5 compare to each other? So it would move right or left? Left, how far? 4.2. Would it move up or down? Down, how far? 5. Okay? Okay, without using your graphing calculator, sketch the graph of y equals 1 over x plus 2 squared minus 4.
Is that like the inverse of x plus 2?
Yeah, so your parent function on this, if I were to draw the parent function, it's going to be like this, correct? Okay? That's the x squared. It's not negative, so it's still going up. But look at this. We have a minus 4, so which way is it going to move? Down. So it's going to go down to a minus 4 at least. So our asymptotes actually move down from the 0 line to here. Okay? And then it says x plus 1. Which way is it going to move that direction? Right or left? Left. And so now instead of the y being our asymptote, we're going to have a 1. We're going to put a new asymptote in right here. You guys see how I did that? Okay, and now you're just going to fill it in. So this is just a quick sketch. Obviously, it's not perfect, but on this one it says, if the graph of y equals 1 over negative 2x squared is translated 8 units up and 16 units to the left, what is the equation? So the x is going to move how far? Yep. Okay, so here's one way to do it, Sanjay. Chandana, sorry. So if it's going 8 units, it's always the opposite. So think of this as a minus 8, and this is a minus 17 because it's going to the, it's going to the right, so it'll be a plus 17. It's opposite of what you think.
But to the left would be, okay, yeah, got you.
Think opposite. Okay, now if I put this in my equation like this. Okay, look.
Opposite because it went before. Yeah, why was it before? Like the original one.
Okay, so hold on a second. So if you do this, if you write it like this, it would be y minus 8 equals negative 1 over 2 times x plus 17 squared. Okay, I put it on this side if you want to think of them both as opposite. Otherwise, you guys could have just done it like this. Y equals, and just think of the x as opposite. Whatever way makes it easier for you. So if it's going to the left, it's going to be positive instead of negative. Okay? And it's going up by 8, so I'm going to put plus 8 right here. Okay, so whichever way works best for you. If you did it this way, you can solve for y, and you end up with the same thing over here. Yeah, either way works. Whatever one makes most sense to you. Yeah. Yep, you can do that. You can do either way.
Which way, like, is it going to be on
Whichever way works best for you. You can do either way, and you will get the same answer. Okay?